Mic check, 1, 2, 1, 3. Back with it. Episode 4. What it do, Snap?
Oh, yeah. What it do?
I'm Georgette, and that was Snap, my co-host. Snap. Hi, Snap.
How you doing, young lady?
I'm doing fine. Welcome to Black and Nuanced Podcast. So we're dispelling ideas that all black people are monoliths. We're not. We're bringing our varying perspectives to pop culture, relationships, and things we go through that we can't always name. So welcome to Black and Nuanced. Real quick mention, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and being that we were talking about it in episode 3. So if you suspect someone is in immediate danger, call 911. If you or someone needs assistance or counseling, call the national hotline, 1-800-799-SAFE or 7233. NoMore.org is one website with resources and information. It's also Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so go October. Snap, what it do, what it do.
Everything is all good, man. I look forward to that talk right there because not only is it Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but it's Hispanic Heritage Month, the month of October.
Come on,
and we rocking with domestic abuse awareness. Now, again, I told you I've been in my share of relationships, and some of them were great relationships. I can say for the majority of the women that I've been involved with, they ended on a good note. Yeah. It might not have ended the way we wanted them, but it wasn't no F you mother, nothing like that. So
would you be willing to talk more about your situation on what happened and why you felt like you couldn't really talk? Why you didn't report it or do whatever? You didn't act on it.
I want to say again, that was I don't want to use masculine because then people could be like, oh, well, you blah, blah, blah. But that was my way of being a man. And I have to use that term. It's not what men do. Men don't report when they woman slap them in the face for doing something silly or something like that, But
and
again,
we're going to get into toxic masculinity in the other segment.
So it wasn't reported. But in my situation, in episode 3, last episode, I referenced that I was in an abusive relationship. And one time we got into a fight about something. It was some kind of text on my phone or something.
And she hit you
and slayed me, right? But my whole thing with that is I never reported it because at the end of the day, even though I was the one bleeding, I thought that I was going to be the one locked up.
Right.
And
because she could have switched that story around on you.
Getting locked up. Because again, all she had to do was say, well, he hit me too, or he hit me. And wasn't that I wasn't hitting you to say, bitch, pow. No, I was like, get off. Like, come on, that's my leg. Come on, girl. You ain't got to scratch me here. You ain't got to bite me. Like, you are really digging my skin to the white meat right now. Like, and so that the push off, like that, I think alone would have just sent me to jail. And I can't do jail. I can't do no jail. Nope.
I agree with you.
Nope.
That's why I've done things to not be even remotely considered.
Yeah. So for my end, my whole thing was, and being a man and being, that strong man, I was like, quotes. I'm not reporting that. And let's say, I don't know. Listen, as a man, you got to invest in that, right? So, and when I say you invest in it, when you take the time to report your abuse, that's not somebody you stand with. And I don't want to use the double standard, but it's easy for a man to just walk away. There's so much others, like in situations, and like women, by example, because they're invested so much into it. It's usually kids. It's usually, damn, if I just take him and leave, now I got to go to a shelter kind of sort of thing. But as a man, it's like we get abused. You know what we do? I'm going to go to my homeboy house for a little bit, and I'm going to let you cool off and I'm going to come back home and it's going to be nothing.
Yeah, it's never that easy.
So, yeah. So as a man, that's how I saw it. I was like, you know what, I'm going to get past this. And that's exactly what I did. I went by a homeboy crib. I tried to get fixed up. He was like, when he looked at me, like when I showed up at his door, his wife, she gave the look like, ah! Like that's how,
bad it was.
Yeah. So, and And I did my own kind of doctoring and shit. This was some bullshit. Like in the past, when you get scraped, sometimes you need a stitch. Sometimes you just need a butterfly tape. That's,
God.
I folded my lip to the point where I just put some tissue and some tape to kind of seal my lip closed. Like it was crazy. But again, it was because for me to report it, now I gotta make a police report. Now I gotta blah, blah, blah. And then to get serious about something like that, you need a restraining order. You need to put the things in place to protect yourself.
You just wasn't willing to put in the time to do
I
all
couldn't
that.
do the time.
But you could at least went to the damn hospital, Snap.
Absolutely not. Because now you want to know what happened. And I'm not a good liar. That's what I found out about myself. I am not a good liar. So a long time ago, I stopped lying, and that helped me in relationships. It kind of hurt me a little bit, but I was able and I was confident enough to say, listen, I'm not looking for a real relationship. I'm cool. If you want to be cool, we hang out, eat, we can drink, whatever. But I wasn't ready for that long-term relationship. Right. And I was able to say that on day one. And because it was, I had options. So if you told me that's not what you're looking for, it was like, all right, now we in the friend zone and we cool. But if you was cool with us just hanging out and there was, I was all right too. So, and again, that's guys use that masculinity. Like I told you, there's a certain point where a guy start feeling good about himself. And now that point in his life where he never had girls look at him, and now all of a sudden he got a nice car, he got a nice job, and remember, you know what? Let me go back to a Kanye phrase. Well, I don't know if it was a Kanye phrase. I don't know where it originated, but Kanye said, "With us, when we don't have the land, we buy the brand." And I see,
he said it in the lunch.
I see so many people,
lunch, yeah.
right? And I'd be like, "That's a nice car you got, and you live there."
Oh, I look at that in my apartment building all the time. I'm like, okay, sure.
How you living like that? How you repping this designer brand and that designer brand? But that's where you go home. That's where you lay your head. And it's like, come on, man, there's a bigger picture. You need to stop buying that shit, save your money, and put yourself in some. I will wear a pair of nameless sneakers or shoes, but I ain't worried about my bills. I ain't worried about where the roof over my head is, so I'm good that way. And I think sometimes we forget what really life is about, or what is success to you. Masculinity to me might be something different to somebody else. I saw this commercial, matter of fact, and it features a lot of lesbian, gay dudes, and they just talk about what masculinity means to them. And again, to me, it just meant strong. It meant blah, blah, blah. But can you be gay and masculine at the same time? So it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, so there's a conflict of but we as a society, we're so sensitive about people's feelings. It's like, we'll take a word like masculine and we're trying to soften it up. And it's like the definition of masculine is one thing. It's, if you're not masculine, I don't want to say you're feminine, but you just may not be the toughest dude, So I don't know where to go with that whole thing. But as masculine, it just meant, you're strong. You're able to impose your will, like things like that.
You don't think that people, in the LGBT community could be masculine?
I do.
Oh, okay.
And that's why I say, but we throw it out there as a broad thing, but people get offended by it.
Yeah.
Because you're calling me masculine. My mom back in the days, I was too young to understand, but she had a real masculine friend.
Right.
I didn't know that she was gay at the time, but this woman right here, I could remember going to an adventure park one time, and that one dumbbell thing where there's a jackhammer or some kind of sledgehammer, and you hit the circle, and when you hit the circle, the amount of force sends this.
Oh yes,
thing.
yes, like at a fair or something. Yes.
Okay, there you go. Well, we were in line, and when it was our time to come up, the woman in my mom's crew, she was manhandling that sledgehammer. When I say if she hit that bell thing, if she hit that sponge thing 10 times, all 10 times that thing rolls up and hit that bell. There were some men who couldn't do it, and it became a spectacle. Like, I was too young to really understand what was going on, but because she was able to do it, and a lot of these men couldn't do it, it was like, that was a perfect example. It's like, can the LGBT community be absolutely.
Well, women and men have masculine and feminine quality. I mean masculine and feminine energy. So masculine definition, it is having qualities or appearance traditionally associated with men, especially strength and aggressiveness.
There we go.
So.
Right?
Yeah, I mean.
And as a man and as a society, whether it was comedians, whether it's media, we make jokes about that. If a girl hit me, man, I can't call no. I look like a punk. I'm straight look like a sissy. Calling. And then let's take an example of, let's say you're in a relationship with someone with kids, or y'all married. How are you, as a man, supposed to? I mean, whether your lady got alcohol problems and she abusive verbally, because verbal abuse is serious too. Verbal abuse can take a toll on if you out and you're not making it happen work-wise, or because, again, in the everyday life of a black man, there are other obstacles that we got to face in our everyday that white men don't have to. Some people call it the privilege. Some people just say this is just life. It's just the way the system was put in place for us. But as a man, I want to be able to go out and say, I can take care of my family. I can blah, 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 blah. But if my wife is unhappy and she beating on me and shit, I just can't go to the cops and say, listen, I have an abusive wife and she needs to be arrested. I have an abusive wife and it's coming to the point where she's really hurting me. I need a restraining order. What does that do to the family? What does that do to the household? And I think
it goes back to, I think it goes back to the individual in that and what you're socialized to believe. If you believe that no one should be putting your hands on you, whether you're a man or not a man, you should be taken seriously. But unfortunately, you're not.
No, because it's a joke.
But it's also in your mind you feel like you can't do it anyways. So
there's a fear there. There's a fear there. There was a situation like, you most of the time if there's a celebrity or somebody big that we're talking about or they trending, it's usually the man getting separated and the man is dividing up his well-beings. But you remember the Mary J. Blige story? It's like her and her husband got divorced and now she's got to pay him.
He gets spousal support.
So immediately, it's like, okay, and all these other situations, you got the football player who married his high school sweetheart who never did anything or earned anything in life, and now he's a millionaire 10 years later because she was with him for 10 years. She gets half, blah, 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 of nothing she's earned. But now we say to this man, you ain't earned that. You didn't earn that. And we are so quick to shit on my man. He ain't shit. How you taking what?
You know what? Since we're going to get into that.
Was that masculine? Was that masculine of him?
No, I think, to be honest, any man that is requesting spousal support, and in two situations where I've heard it with Randy Raquel Robinson from Steve Harvey's show and the show The Game. One, it's where you get married. So when people get married in California, you're fucked to begin with. And men will already, it's almost like it favors the women in that situation if it's a male and a female marriage. But with Mary Jane and Kenzo, I think his name, her ex-manager / ex-husband, he was living this lavish life. Well, the only reason why I feel like their situation is different, she makes business with pleasure. She married her manager. So I don't know what he was entitled to from her profits. I don't know if they had a prenup, but I think it's kind of odd for a man to want spousal support. It's strange, but if we're strictly looking at it, removing male, female, if you're going off the breadwinner in the relationship, it seems like he's entitled to it. But what my man was doing that I didn't like, he wanted more. I should get XYZ a month because she makes XYZ a month. No one told you to go out and buy these cars, these houses. And then he wanted, it got even more shameful when he was just like, well, I need money to take care of my mom and laundry and dry cleaning and all. What? I found a dry cleaner that costs like $7, $5. Like, what dry cleaning are you fucking going to? So I think there was a lot of shit that was wrapped up in that. And of course we won't ever know, but I can't say that he's less of a man because of that, but I just think it's just strange to me for any man.
But he was trending because people was
they were prying him.
That's some bullshit.
Yeah, because if you are her manager, why weren't you putting money aside? Did you think this marriage was going to last forever? I mean, of course you get married to think that, but shit happens. And So you weren't putting money aside. So everything you got, you were just spending. I don't know what his finances look like. So yeah, I don't know about that Snap. But he was the biggest case because he felt like he was getting something and he felt like he was entitled to more of her money. And she's the artist. She's the talent. She's the one, and with the Wendy Raquel Robinson situation, he felt like, I think they were estranged. I think he felt like, when he was sick, she abandoned him. Like, this is what he's saying allegedly. Mm-hmm. So it's just, listen, it sucks to be in those situations, and that's why I'm like, I'm taking my time on being married. I'm not necessarily running towards it. So I do want to come back to that and all of the things, but I want to get into this Facebook security breach. Snap. Right. So for those that may not be aware, I hope most of the people are aware now. Facebook has been in the news multiple times. My man's was on trial. My man's in them. He's not my man's in them. Mark Zuckerberg was on trial not too long ago about the whole, I think it was called the whole British analytics firm where the British analytics firm got access to private information of up to 87 million users. So what recently happened the end of September, they were already facing scrutiny over that, but there was a glitch or a bug in Facebook that allowed an attack on its computer network to expose information of up to nearly 50 million users. Mark Zuckerberg was hacked, who's the founder. Sheryl Sandberg was hacked. And the attackers were able to gain access to apps like Spotify, Instagram, and hundreds of others that were logged into the systems through Facebook. So let's be very clear. Every time I would go to a site, Snap, and it would ask me to log in using Facebook, I would never, ever do that. I never trusted that. I was never a fan of that. I would always create an account with whatever site that I was using, whatever third-party site I was using. So Facebook has 2.2 billion users. How could one site have all that power? This is not. I don't think this is going to be the last that this is going to happen. So overall, the company was forced to log out more than 90 million people when this happened as a safety measure. What are your thoughts about Facebook? Are you on Facebook like that?
I'm on Facebook, but I'm not on Facebook like that. It's like I don't use Facebook to connect the way I should. But again, people abuse Facebook.
Remember how Facebook started off. A lot of people that are on Facebook didn't know it was strictly when you had to be in college to be on Facebook.
Right, absolutely.
So I remember.
Absolutely.
I was at this school, my school, Norfolk State. When was it? 2000. We had to request access. And at that time, it was called The Facebook. TheFacebook.com. Years later, they opened it up to the rest of the world, and I was over Facebook at that point. I was just like, it's not private anymore, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And then it changed to Facebook, and then obviously now...
to what we have today.
But again, later, yeah.
Because of the power of the internet, you have the power of the hacker. And because you have the power of the hacker, look at the whole Russia scandal with the whole 45 election.
Oh, yeah, like influence on Facebook. Like, yeah, it was
look
all of that.
at Target. Remember Target not too long ago? Their system was breached, affecting over 90 million customers, So I think because, again, we ventured out into this realm of internet world. It's so easy for us to take, remember when you used to just take your money was in the pocket. Then it was like, I'm gonna take my money from my pocket and put it under the mattress. And then it was like, I'm gonna just put my money in the bank. Now it's like, wait, hold up. I could put money into Bitcoin. I could put money into stocks. I can
cash. You send money for
Cash
app, Venmo.
If we took it too far, we took it too far for convenience. And when you conveniently make it accessible for other people to get your shit, I don't see why we're in a panic now. Because for the most part, we're putting passwords on. We're signing in every day to things that before you actually become a member tells you, and all these fine lines that we never read, all the acceptance agreement, we never read that shit. We just sign it. We're like, yeah, we're a new member. But in turn, we download an app. The app is asking you, can you give us permission to access this? Do you allow us permission to do this?
Your whole ass phone, microphone, camera, this,
and
that.
when you do that, you're given permission for every other thing that it's associated with to connect to what you're doing.
By the way, Facebook Messenger app, when they separated where you couldn't check your messages anymore unless you logged in onto your...
On the Messenger?
Yep. No, so you were able to check it. The glitch around it was I used to log in from my mobile phone, and so I was able to check messages. When they completely removed that option, I could only check it on my laptop. So for people that download Messenger, they have access to everything, and they do not allow you to use it unless you give them access to everything.
Right.
And I was telling people about that. I was like, they're listening to everything you're doing. They can hear it, just like your Alexa. Is it Amazon
Absolutely.
Alexa? You
Absolutely.
know, all those types of things. You know, Google Home, it's the same thing. And so You're absolutely right. We've given them access. I'm anal. I'll log out of every fucking thing, you know, when I'm using public computers. And not to say that helps, but I got off of Facebook for a year and some change. But because I was brand building, I got back on it a few years ago, and I was just like, man, I hated the fact at the time I couldn't do much without Facebook. Because the audience I have on Facebook, Snap, they're not on Instagram, and they're not on Twitter. So I had to satisfy people in all places.
Absolutely. And again, that's the only reason why I'm mostly connected with that social media scene, because it became a requirement. In today's culture, you have to be updated on what's trending and what's new. So, you know, I can remember at one point everybody was on Vine. Everybody had to do a Vine video.
I think they shut Vine down though.
And so now it's the whole Instagram. There's still Snapchat. You know, yep. Twitter. Twitter remains strong. I thought Twitter was going to have like its kind of...
They have their moments.
You know.
By the way, I don't think they should get rid of follower counts like Kanye was suggesting.
Again, we're in a day and age where, especially our youth, everything depends on a like. Like do you see how many likes I got for this? You see how many downloads I got for this? You see how many retweets I got on this? That's the whole big thing. And I think that plays it and takes its toll on how we think as a society, especially on our young people.
Well, I think the other issue too with social media is, you know, for anyone that's in the entertainment industry and your talent, so you're an actor, you're a TV host, radio host, to get casted and stuff now, Snap, it's gone to a whole new levels where they're looking at your follower count to base your influence and if it makes sense. And I'm just like, there's people, you know, I used to get frustrated because I was just like, I literally trained for a lot of these things. I would go to classes, you know, TV hosting classes. I did radio for, you know, over 10 years, blah, blah, blah. But you're choosing somebody.
Who got a hot-ass Instagram with 1 million followers.
Or I remember the network I used to work for, one of the networks I used to work for, they hired this girl that had less than 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. The show bombed. Like, she replaced this older host. The show bombed. And then they got rid of her. And they got rid of the show. But they pulled her strictly because of her subscriber count on YouTube.
There you go.
That does not translate into these people being actually naturally good on camera.
Right.
Because when you're doing stuff on YouTube, it's completely different. You're in your apartment, your house.
You're in your own setting, and you have the power of the edit button. You know, you can bring it back, or you could just retake it. You can do it over and over and over again. Or
there's no standard, like your audience likes that. But when we're bringing people onto whole-ass networks where you know, they're scripting things for you. You're not trained in that. You don't really know how to read from a teleprompter. You're not really, and not to say that you can't be trained on that.
Or read with emotion, or read to make it make sense.
Right, like read with emotion.
So I can't tell you're reading.
Right, there you go. There's no personality, and so, yeah, I mean, what did you say to me about Facebook though? Until there's another.
Until there's
until there's another one.
You know how they they said we can't monopolize businesses in this country, right? We also gotta have kind of like a free trade kind of something. Like there's no one Facebook, but right now at this time there is only one Facebook. Until we can
2.2 billion.
Until we can find a Facebook competitor, but they're gonna have their own issues as well.
No, yeah, but there hasn't been. There have people. There have been people trying to compete with Facebook, and they didn't last long.
No, because Facebook is like the McDonald's of the social industry.
Spotify came out first, and Spotify, I was against Spotify when it first came out, but it's this first streaming service that came out, and so I go to Spotify first for everything because everything is already ingrained. When Tidal came out, when Apple Music came out, I couldn't cross the songs I wanted to listen to onto these platforms.
But one of the
Facebook was the same thing too.
One of the smartest things that Facebook did was connect with those companies, right? To say, hey, you can work on with my platform.
Right, but yeah, Facebook I feel like they're business bullies too, right? Because there was a point in time where you were able to post links on Facebook. Now you have to natively upload videos on Facebook for it to pop up on timelines. They changed the algorithms, and it's just kind of like, really, Facebook?
Well, control. I got to control what y'all doing to an extent, because again.
To benefit us.
Right.
But
we
then
would
you
get
out here,
loosey-goosey.
But then y'all out here with security breaches and shit like that. Like, I'm just mindful of how much, people have embedded their whole lives on Facebook. I just wasn't one of those people when I came back. I mean,
absolutely.
They allowed in Messenger where you can send cash. I'm not doing all that.
Absolutely. And that becomes crazy because, again, when you connect to all these digital sources, you're open for anything. You're open for hacks. You're open for people getting your information. And you're vulnerable. I think if I'm correct, if I read correctly, it affected up to 87 million users to worries that disinformation on Facebook has affected elections and even led to deaths in several countries.
And this is from when the British analytics firm happened.
And so, it's like, wait a minute, since when, but again, the stuff that's being posted, the stuff, Facebook, look at how our kids are using Facebook. I'm going to get on here and I'm going to do a Facebook rant and I'm going to go live. And now you're going to meet me at the street. Y'all going to meet me here. We're going to get this all on Facebook. The whole World Star. I mean, it's like, wait a minute. It's like World Star. Why is World Star? When World Star first started, I don't know.
I think they just wanted with that website when it first started.
But I think it just wanted to be another media company that just was informing people of what was going on.
But it was the content. It was people getting beat up and punched, and it was just what?
Okay, so, and it's the same way people felt about UFC when it first came out. Nobody wanted to watch UFC because these dudes are in the octagon punching each other in the face. There's blood everywhere. This is real blood. This ain't that fake wrestling stuff where a wrestler go underneath the ring and scratch himself on the forehead, come back out, get in the ring, and a dude make him sweat. Now you see the blood streaming. Not that fake stuff. This was, this was hard for a lot of people to see somebody getting elbowed and punched and kicked. But it's like, this is where we're at today. And it's like, this is pop culture. And it's sick. It's crazy. But
scary.
It's entertaining to a lot of people. And if it wasn't entertaining, it wouldn't get the views. Look at some of these. I mean, I see a different high school fight every day. I can't go nowhere without going through my feed and you follow balleralert.com?
I don't. I stay away from some of those websites.
There you go. And that's one of the sites.
But that's one of the sites that people, they reference as their news.
I'll be scraping through oh my, what's this here?
Oh my.
Wow. Oh, you know what? Let me just keep skipping through this video because I can't even watch this right here. I mean, sometimes the violence is just, it's just.
I'm too sensitive to those types, to watch all those things.
But we've grown to a point where it's like, it's okay. Like back in the days, you'd be like, somebody is getting their ass kicked. Somebody else got to say, yo, stop or something. Even if you was in fear that was going to come at you now because you was trying to break it up.
Right.
Nowadays, what do people do? When they see somebody getting their shit busted, I'm pulling out my phone and I'm hitting record because I don't know how many likes and views my recording is going to get. So and the whole other thing is I got to get that video that's going to go viral. My shit go viral.
It's so bad.
So, and that's where we're at. And it's unfortunate. But again, if we would use social media and internet the way we're supposed, or the way it should be really utilized, we'd be a lot smarter. We'd have a lot more information about what goes on. And you can do your real research on people. Like, look at the all of the candidates are playing commercials now, bashing each other. Don't look at a commercial and let that commercial convince you this is who I'm gonna vote for.
Yep.
Get out there, do your research, do a little reading. If if you can't read, there's always something that you can listen to where somebody can give you facts on something like that. So
I mean, they were saying the founders of these companies like Bill Gates and I think Steve Jobs and somebody else they named, their children weren't on social. They weren't on social media, or they weren't on phone. Right, but we're souped up on these things. Yet your children don't have phones. They're not looking at any. They're not. I mean, excuse me. I don't know if they don't have phones, but I know the reference was they weren't on social media at all. But then yet we're over here every 5 minutes because I know I do this sometimes. On Instagram, I'm checking it every 5 minutes. I was like, Georgette, you were just in this fucking app 2 minutes ago. Right. So sometimes I'll have to delete it from time to time. I'm just like, yeah, Georgette, take a break. So yeah, man. Anywho, be careful out there in these streets.
It's addicting.
With especially with Facebook, though.
It is addicting.
With Facebook. So, all of the things segment. I want to wrap up toxic masculinity. Stop for women that are really out here trying to support men, what would your thoughts or insight be for someone like yourself that struggles with? I'm only saying struggle as the word because you said in certain situations you just felt like you couldn't say certain things or do certain things or express yourself. What would you recommend for us? How can we be of assistance to someone like you that may not always be in the best position to express themselves because you were socialized to believe that men have to be quote unquote men?
Right, and that's just one of those things. The only thing I could really focus on is just being supportive because not all men are the same.
Right.
Not all men view masculinity the same.
Right.
A man might think he got to rough his woman up to be a man, or he got to say certain things or blah, blah, blah. I just think when it comes to relationships, you just got to understand the person you're with. And if you're going to be with somebody, I think you should invest in getting to know that person and getting to know what their ideals of life is, what they feel their role should be. And I think that's another thing, that conversation on what do you think your role should be in this relationship, and be honest about it. What are you expecting from me? Because again, guys go into relationships and a woman should be like, all right, he's a good provider. I think I can like this guy the rest of my life, blah, blah, blah.
But that's a question I've never went into a relationship thinking about. Snap. I have to admit.
Right.
Because I'm coming in how I act, and you're coming in how you act, and I'm not budging.
But remember, a lot of that coming into where I act is because I'm trying to get you to like me. So a lot of that is fake.
Right.
A lot of that is not real. It's just because, but again, some dudes try and go above and beyond that. Some dudes are like, listen, I can change. And that's what change is about. And the change in the relationship is, you give and take,
I want
normally
you to change
wouldn't
because you want to, not because you think you have to do it.
Right.
Yep.
And but again, it's understanding the person you're with. So I always go back to supportive because you could support your man, but not in the way he is needed to be supported. And it gets nowhere.
So he may feel like you're not even really supporting him at all.
But again, it took me to be honest with myself before I could say I could throw this out here on the table.
Have you ever been emasculated in a relationship?
Like
where she just did not like build you up, uplift you at all. Not saying that you're leaning on her, right? But I'm just saying have you ever been in a relationship with a woman that just was just like, man, Snap, you ain't shit. You this, you that.
I never went into a relationship like that. I never went in expecting anything.
Okay.
And that's the problem. Like usually, my thought process when I was a lot younger, the first thing I saw, damn, she got a fat ass. That wasn't my thought. Like, damn, I wonder if she's really nice. I wonder if she can cook.
Right.
I'm like, damn, yo,
like,
that
will she
lipstick
hold me down,
right
will she,
there.
Yeah, will she throw
like,
me under the bus if I, come home and I just didn't feel, like I conquered the day.
And so again, we all deal with personal problems, and as a man, some men hold a lot of that stuff in. We hold that shit in because again,
it's not healthy.
And especially if your work life ain't right. If your work life ain't right, the bills, you struggling, you working hard, but you got nothing to show for it. You can't save shit. You can't do nothing. That takes its toll on relationships. And
it's not like it's the woman's fault though, right?
No, it's not.
But depending on how y'all
take it personally because again, y'all deal with emotions differently than men. And that's y'all will think about something. We just gonna do. And then we'll suffer the consequences and think about it later. We always, damn, if I would have just, because there are times where your woman will tell you, I don't think that, baby, I don't think we should do that. And he be like, you right, but fuck it, I'm gonna go do it anyway. And then the shit come back. And it's fucked up because you as your woman supporting your man can't say, well, I told you so. Because once you start saying that you told me so, that's a whole nother shit. So
the two things that I'm very mindful of that I don't say to any of my guy friends, I don't say I told you so, but the other one was like, yo, I got to talk to you.
Yo, can I talk to you for a second?
So I find different ways
we really need to talk.
Yeah, any variation of that, I don't say it.
Right, because again,
y'all get shook, honey.
If you've been in one of those situations before, you go back to that automatic, oh, here we go again.
Right.
And and some dudes, you start thinking about old shit that you don't even, you ain't do. Like, damn, I know I ain't cheating. I know I ain't, what's this talk about?
It only took that one time, because if you heard it the first time, you're like, oh, I got to talk to you. Okay, cool. And then she badgers you about something.
Right.
If you hear that again, you're going to be like, nah, man, what is she about to nag me about now?
Yeah, set aside some time where we can chit chat, all right? It's like, but when? Win.
Now
And
you
then you
get that shit over with.
quick. But at the end of the day, now I know mentally I got to prep myself for whatever's about to happen. And that's not how you're supposed to go into it.
I know. Yeah, I at this point I'm gonna be like, yeah, I don't say it. I'm not gonna tell you what I say because I want people trying to cue into what
I just think,
I just don't use those words.
Being supportive, but you got to know how to support. And even if it means sometimes you got to find creative way to question your man to get him to say shit that he may not say.
Yep. I agree.
And it may be, him talking about some things that happened in past relationships or
you just need to. We as I'm not saying it's all women, but I know the biggest thing for me is creating a safe space.
Right.
You got to use those words. Safe
right.
space.
There you go.
Where they feel like when they enter, whether it's physically or figuratively speaking, if they unleash whatever they're about to, or unload what they're about to share with you, that you're not going to hold it against them. You're not going to throw it in their face.
Absolutely.
They're not going to hear about it again in a different way. Like, oh, Negro, why'd you let this happen?
Right.
And they can leave feeling like, okay, shit, well, you know what? Like, I don't have to be tense and defensive because she just allows me to be me without me feeling like I have to have my guard up because I already, by the time I walk out the door of where I'm at having this safe space with her, safe space conversation, I got to get back. I have to put my guard back up again for the rest of the world.
Right. And so a good example on that end would be like, all right, we talk. And at the end of that talk, we got to where we wanted to be, but now there's tension because of some things that I said or blah, blah, blah. Now it becomes, damn, do I really want to really say what I feel next time around?
Oh, to avoid it. And see, I really just want open communication and honesty.
And unfortunately, we throw up walls when we hear something we don't want to hear or, just listening and you're like, oh, shit, bitch, how could you say that? Like, it's like, wait a minute. It's, but that safe space, it's hard to go into that safe space without judgment and to just say, I'm going to put it. I think it's hard because.
Hard for who, though, I guess?
Well, I know from my perspective, it was hard for me because there were some things internally that I was dealing with.
Oh, you felt like she was going to judge you on.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely. So I didn't go into some of those talks with all honesty. I've had many of those talks like, but then again, okay, so we talk and I think I'm getting better, but I'm not really getting better. So we have the same talk again. And it's like, if you're in that relationship and she's like, yo, I'm trying to get you to do this, but you're still not doing it. You're not getting it. It becomes two things. I'm going to keep nagging at you, and now this is going to be a problem with us. Or I'm going to say, as a woman in the relationship, I'm going to stop fucking with him about this because you know what? It ain't going to change. So I got to either accept it, grow with it.
She shut down. That's shutting down. Yeah. So it's still
and it's unhealthy. Right. So, and so again, my whole thing is women should be supportive of their men as well as men supportive of their women. But historically, when you talk about support your women, for the most part, it was I'm gonna work and put some food on the table. We didn't know the meanings of the emotional support,
right?
And just to be in there.
I think but I think where men can come and meet us halfway, Snap. In all honesty, is black women have. And I'm only because I'm black, I'm a woman of color. I think a lot of times we are out here caping for our black men, and we just do not see it often enough for black men caping for black women. That's not all black men. Just we need that from you all as well. And I think communication can take everything further in both regards. So yeah, okay, cool.
I think so.
All right, I rock with that. All right, Snap. How can they find you on social media?
I'm at ROB_OSNAP on Instagram, and I'm at ROB0SNAP on Twitter.
Yes, because I was about to say, wait, Snap, I think you spelled it wrong. No, you're right. But if they type in Robo Snap either way,
it's going to come up because it's still capital zero
or
capital zero. A capital O, but looks like a zero.
Yeah, exactly. You can find me on Twitter at Georgette, just my first name basis. Instagram, Georgette Starr with 2 R's. And then Black Nuance Pod. I'm going to work on tweeting. We're going to work on tweeting and using Instagram. This was powered by Excitement Radio.
Absolutely. ExcitementRadio.com. Our world, our way. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, girl.
All right, we out of here, P.